talking.
Hello, my gorgeous people. Today, I'm going to show you how I made and applied this gruesome prosthetic, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so I started off with mixing liquid latex and normal kitchen flour, mixing it up and spreading it onto my face cast. I did make the mixture a little bit too thick, but I'm not one to waste products, so I worked with what I had, even though I messed that up. Then I'm going to pour a little normal liquid latex without the flour into a plate and use that to spread out and smooth what I have put down to help shape it. I'm going to continue that onto the top jaw. We're at the same process, and then I'm going to try and keep a good separation between the top and bottom jaw. Then I'm going to put the teeth that I pre-made out of air dry clay. I like to have one little snaggle tooth. It kind of resembles my own bottom jaw. It's, you know, my own little personal touch. Trying to get all of that latex off the top of the teeth so that it doesn't stick where I don't want it to stick. Then I went ahead and did the top jaw and everything. I'm going to do a layer of latex and flour right by the roots of the teeth to try and solidify where they need to be. Then I'm going to work it into the grooves in between the teeth and make little wedges so it looks like decent gums. I'm going to do the same thing up at the top. Now I'm trying to build lips around what somewhat resembles some stretched lips. You can tell how thick the latex paste that I made was because I had a hard time getting it off of my fingers. You can see me struggle with that quite a bit. Now I'm just smoothing around my edges, trying to shape it the way I want it. And it takes a while for me to get there. And I had a little visitor, a nice little gnat, to get him safely off. Here we go, back to sculpting. Now I'm going to try and define my gums from my lips and try and push some away. And just keep shaping until you get what you're happy with. At some point you can see that I went away for a couple hours and let it dry a little bit, and then I kept building up around the dried area because it was starting to stick to itself and stick to my fingers as I was working, so I needed it to dry a little bit. Now I want to put some of that latex up on the nose because I've already covered up. Yeah, see that? That is where I let it dry a little bit and went back to it. But I had already covered up my nostrils, unfortunately. Didn't give myself a way to breathe. And so I went ahead and decided to build it up the nose. I do that even more a little bit later on. But this is just me adding to the cheeks, making it look a little bit more seamless to the face. Yep, there's the buildup of the nose. I'm going to try and define that little bottom lip a little bit better. Look at that. So pretty. I took a couple days to let it dry. I don't understand why it dried so dark. It's probably because of the thickness that I made the flour and latex mixture. But right now, what I'm doing is making a good correcting color with some acrylic paint. This is good when something dries darker than you expect. It's not necessary all the time, but I'm only doing that because it went darker. This is some RCMA powder, translucent powder. It's very vital to use this because I mixed Prosade into that acrylic paint mixture to make it adhese better. Now I'm trying to make a more skin-like tone, taking some peach, some yellow, and then some of that brick color, and then adding Prosade in there. Mixing it all up, and then I'm going to cover that same area. Once I have all that covered, I'm going to powder it again. You do a lot of powdering in this. Now that is a Dermacol foundation. Trying to make it match my skin tone a little bit better for when I put it on my face. And another powdering. That is my favorite palette. That is Skin Illustrator American Horror Story themed. One of my absolute favorites. I just got it. It's brand new, as you can tell. I have dipped into the pink color Coven to paint the gums, and now I am grossing, like making the teeth look extra gross by using some pastel yellow near the roots, and then I grab rice pepper to highlight the tips of the teeth. Now I'm dipping into Asylum to deepen in the mouth. No one's mouth is just stark pink. That just doesn't happen. So I'm just darkening up the corners of the mouth and around in the edges of the lips. Now I'm going to go back into Coven to try and soften those harsh lines, trying to make it look a little bit more blended. Now I'm going back into Asylum, and I'm going to put a darker color in those ridges by the roots of the teeth. Back into Coven to try and highlight the high points of those gums. Now I'm going to put some color to my lips. That was me trying to just find the color of my natural lips, but I ended up making them a little bit more dark and purple later. Now I am dipping into my other Skin Illustrator palette, the Grunge palette, and this color is called Dark Brun, and I'm just trying to deepen up those edges again, and I put them in between the cracks of the teeth as well, so it doesn't all just look like one big tooth. Now I'm going into capillary, and this really helps make like broken up skin texture. Like your skin is supposed to look stretched, so this is the veins and capillaries. And then I broke into the vein tone and did the same thing, overlapping it. Just over and over again with a sponge that has little holes ripped out of them, so it's a very uneven texture. Then I'm going to go back into vein tone and actually make little veins with a very small detail brush. And I do the same thing with capillary. If you have more than one color in those veins, it just makes it even more disturbing. I try to water them down, and even if it comes out a little bit dark, I like to pat it with my finger just to make it die down a little bit and look a little bit more subtle. But I still want people to see it. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but it is a vital step in order to make something look super creepy. Alright, so it's time to take it off. There's going to be a lot of powdering, and this was more difficult than I thought it would be because my edges were very thin. I do end up trimming those edges. You're not really supposed to, but I was having a hard time with them. And that again is our RCMA translucent powder. I use it a lot. It's very important to have. And we're going to make sure the entire inside of it is powdered because latex does stick to itself and you don't want to mess it up that way. Okay, now I'm applying it to the face, making sure that it fits my face right where I want it. I did pre-paint my face, as you can tell. Now I'm applying Prosade to the prosthetic and a little bit to my face with a Q-tip. I realized I had my nose piercing in, had to take that out. I'm just going to put it right where I want it to sit and really be anchored onto my face. Very thin, it doesn't have to be big globs. And then you tap your finger to make sure that it's working and it's ready to be put on. That's a perfect fit because I made it on my face cast. Now I'm going to go around those edges to try and hide those thick edges with a little bit more liquid latex just around the edges. I'm going to put it all the way around, then I have to let it dry, and then I'm going to do another layer. Then I need to powder it. I don't have a hairdryer, so I just use a notebook and fan myself. Now it's all dry and it's time to powder it, take away that shine. Now I'm going to add more Dermacol foundation to my face to make the colors blend in a little bit better. And of course, more powder. Now I'm going to take a makeup sponge, cut it in half because it's just wasting a lot. You can use it. Now I'm going to put those little holes in there. I'm going to go back and do the same thing that I did on the prosthetic, going into capillary and just creating that broken up skin texture, make it look extra eerie and gross. And I'm going to do the same thing with the vein tone again. Now I'm going to take a very fine detailed brush and I'm going to make veins go all the way across, even past the line of my prosthetic, the edges of my prosthetic. I'm going to do that with both vein tone and capillary again. I'm going to make sure that capillary tone is mostly on the nose. And we are done.
So, Richard, tell them what we're doing.
We're going through the drive-thru of Burger King so I can get my drink. And she's gonna be looking like that.
You can't tell, but I'm smiling under here. Thank you for choosing Burger King. Order whenever you're ready.
Right there.
No.
Oh, that's cool.
That's it? That's all?
What? Yeah.
That's cool? Come on.
But it looks cute.
We're trying to get content here, man.
I would have got scared, but I've been looking at the people in the kitchen.
Come on, I gotta be uglier than that. That's the point.
It's cool. I said, oh, that looks cool.
From the side, yeah, I can tell from the side it looks great. But I can tell one thing that caught me was the chin part.
Yeah.
But the rest of it looked good.
It's because I smiled too many times while it's been on. It looked better earlier.
I seen it from the side, and I was like,
oh,
yeah,
shit.
for real. I thought it was just like something wrong, and I was like, oh.
Oh, there's so many things wrong with me, but this isn't one of them.
Hey, we work here. Have a good one.
It wasn't as good as I thought it would be.
Okay, guys, this was so fun to make and put together, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. And I will see you next time. Bye.
Yeah!